You're listening to Hurricanes This Week on 110%. Hitting the phones, going to Charlotte to speak with Zach Boychuk. 4 years with the Lethbridge Hurricanes, including that magical run to the WHL Finals in '08, two-time World Junior Champion, and now with the Charlotte Checkers. Zach, for all your fans back here in Lethbridge, how are things going in Charlotte?
Yeah, things are going really well. We have a new coach this year, and we're right in the mix of a playoff hunt right now. So the games are starting to really mean something, and we're looking forward to the last little bit of the season here.
The NHL trade deadline on Monday, I've got to ask, is it a stressful time for a guy like you? Or, I mean, do you get pretty confident, or do you get comfortable, or after a while being in the situation, do they just kind of come and go?
It's tough to say. I mean, it seems like the last few years with Carolina, they've always kind of been out of the position to really gain guys, so they do end up trading guys. So I guess there's always a little bit of uncertainty, and you don't know what's going to happen. But so far being here, they haven't made too many minor league trades. They usually just trade the guys who are UFAs and the guys that can bring in some big returns. So for us, it still can happen, but it'll be more the, Eric Stahls and Cam Wards and Versteegs and guys like that who are going to be garnering all the attention.
So, Zach, I'll take you back to 2008, 2009, the World Junior Hockey Championships, and you had a chance to play on two of those teams, both times winning gold medals. It's got to be a rush to have that in your repertoire as a memory, but you won them a little differently, I guess. One time you won the gold in Canada. The other time you guys were over in the Czech Republic. Can you talk a little bit about how different those tournaments are when it's hosted here on our homeland as opposed to somewhere else?
Yeah, both were obviously great experiences, but to have that one on home soil in Ottawa, it was great. You could just tell, the buzz and the arena with all the fans, and I remember they had one of the biggest Canada flags that I've ever seen, and that was one of the years that it started, where they would hand the flag all the way around the arena, almost like a wave. So it was pretty cool to be a part of that, and obviously the first one was great too, winning in overtime over in the Czech Republic. But yeah, that one with Eberle scoring with 5 seconds left, being on the ice for that, and then winning the gold medal in Ottawa, that was a great experience.
So I know you're a busy guy. Do you have much time to keep track of the Lethbridge Hurricanes and your old WHL team and what they're up to?
Oh, absolutely. I think we got a couple guys on this team in Charlotte that used to play for the Hurricanes. We got Brody Sutter.
Right.
We used to play together in Lethbridge, and we always keep track on how they're doing, and we obviously notice that they're right at the top of the league this year, which is great to see, great for the community.
Well, the last time the Hurricanes had a season like this, you guys were going to the WHL Finals back in 2008. What do you remember about being in the NMAX Center for that run, and some of the maybe memories, the good ones that you have from that playoff stretch?
Oh yeah, it was electric, that's for sure. I've always had fond memories of that playoff run. I always remember Ben Wright he was the captain of our team, and he lifted the little trophy there for the Eastern Conference Championship, and obviously we didn't win the whole WHL Championship and get to go to the Memorial Cup, but just the buzz in the city. We had great goaltending, really good depth up front, and we made a couple trades on defense to really bolster our lineup, and we really caught fire going into the playoffs, and the city really got behind us, that's for sure.
You mentioned being in Charlotte with Brody Sutter. Are there other guys from those teams you played on in Lethbridge that you still keep good touch with, like guys like Lucas Abiza, anybody like that?
Yeah, definitely. Usually when I play against those guys, I definitely see them after the game, whether it's going out for a bite to eat or whatever the night before the game. I know in Vancouver, played against Luca when he was with the Canucks, and when I was with the Hurricanes, and got to see him. And then Dwight King is another guy that keep in touch with quite a bit. And then Colton Sevier is another guy as well that see around in the summer a lot and played against the last few years. So there's quite a few guys still playing, and there's a few guys that are all done and doing other things as well.
He spent 4 years with the Lethbridge Hurricanes. Zach Boychuk joining us on the line. He's now with the Carolina Hurricanes and Charlotte Checkers. He's a two-time World Junior Hockey Champion. Zach, I have to ask you one more thing. Mike Wuckturl, a former teammate of yours, he's been a huge part of getting this podcast going, and he's actually the one that set this interview up. Do you have a good Mike Wuckturl story for us?
A good Mike Wuckturl story. I mean, all I remember about him is him just working out all the time and showing off his muscles. I'm sure he still does that for sure. I keep in touch with him quite a bit too, so definitely a fan favorite in Lethbridge, that's for sure.
Zach, thanks so much for taking the time and joining us on Hurricanes this week.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to 110% Hurricanes This Week edition. I'm your host, Jordan Karst. Thanks so much to Zach Boychuk for joining us on the phone, taking a little bit of time. And yes, Mike Wuckturl still showing off those muscles. Nothing has changed, Zach. It was actually interesting doing that interview with Zach because we did it a few days ago and we started talking right off the top there. I asked him a question about the NHL trade deadline. He said, yeah, it's more, guys like Versteeg, who actually ended up, former Lethbridge Hurricane, Chris Versteeg being traded to the Los Angeles Kings. He said, guys like Eric Stahl, who ended up being traded. Cam Ward didn't end up being traded, but he said that's more for them to worry about. So all day today I was watching every update from TSN, like, please, Zach, don't get traded. Please, Zach, don't get traded. Because I got to run an interview with you tonight that says you're probably not going to be traded. So Zach Boychuk on the show tonight. He mentioned Dwight King as a guy he sees quite a bit or still keeps in touch with. Dwight will be on the show next week. So we're looking forward to that. But it kind of gets us into an interesting conversation because the greatest Lethbridge Hurricane ever is a fantastic debate. Dylan, I'm sorry that I have to go this way, but we're not going to allow Lethbridge Bronco talk into this one. So I know you were going to pull rank again and teach all us young bucks a thing or two, but we're going to go strictly on the Lethbridge Hurricanes right now. Pat, as a guy that did the play-by-play for 7 years, the greatest Lethbridge Hurricane of all time, who is your pick?
Oh, turn my microphone on. The best Lethbridge Hurricane of all time. That is a really tough question. Is it all time or is it just since I've been in Lethbridge?
Well, it said all time.
It said all time. Were you paying attention? Were you on your phone? Like, is this question new to you?
No, it's not.
Did you not listen to the minute and a half I let into this?
It's not new to me.
I even left your mic off to give you additional time to think of who your answer is going to be, and you come back repeating the question.
I'm going to defer to Dylan so I can think.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
I'm gonna defer.
Dylan, I guess he's throwing you under the bus. He's pulling rank, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, what a jerk. This is why we never liked doing Hurricanes This Week with Pat.
You're the elder statesman. You would know more than
I guess,
us.
yeah.
I don't even have a Fred Jack to scream at right now. I'm going to end up yelling at Paul Kingsmith, and that's like shooting a puppy. That's serious. That's like beating a dog with a newspaper. Nobody likes to yell at Paul Kingsmith. Oh, boy, greatest. In the conversation, we mentioned it once, Zach Boychuk's in the conversation.
Yeah.
He had that one great point season. He was, second in league scoring, and then he turned his game around, made a few changes. He was on that one great team. I mean, for me, though, I go Byron Ritchie.
Byron Ritchie, the greatest Lethbridge Hurricane of all time.
Went to a Mem Cup. He ticks all the boxes. He called a French referee a frog at the Memorial Cup. He's part of some of the greatest moments in team history. He's just... He was a fun guy. He was a really enjoyable guy to have in the team, and he played a lot of games.
Paul Kingsmith, who is the greatest Lethbridge Hurricane of all time?
Oh, I have two names in my head. I was going to give it to Jason Ruff, but he got mad at our rec hockey team for making a mess at Adams Arena the other night. So I have to take a timeout from Jason and go with Brent Seabrook as my choice of best Hurricane of all time. I mean, that's a guy that didn't play on the best Hurricane teams, wasn't one of those championship teams, but what he was able to do as a defenseman. I mean, you go back and I crunched some numbers earlier this year, and it's like 16-year-olds don't put up a lot of points in the WHL. Zach Boychuk was an exception. He had an exceptional 16-year-old year for the Hurricanes. Brent Seabrook put up those kind of numbers, and he was a defenseman as a 16-year-old. So the way that Brent Seabrook can control a game, when he was playing junior, I was still living in Calgary. I remember, I was a Hitman fan at the time, and seeing those games and the battles between Brent Seabrook and some of those Hitman players, and the way that those guys got after it. Seabrook was a guy you always respected from the other side, and when you look at what he was able to do as a defenseman in this league, tied for the highest drafted Hurricane of all time, and so... and without the exceptional supporting crowd around him, Seabs has got to be my pick.
Pat, you've deferred long enough, so now we will go to you. Who is the greatest Lethbridge Hurricane of all time?
Well, I'm going to take Mr. Ruff. And the reason is because I don't
He
think...
can get mad at your
Well,
hockey.
no, because has anybody even surpassed the season that guy had?
No, or the career.
That's
numbers-wise.
that's what I mean. No one's put as many points up in a single season as he did. And I think numbers-wise, he is the best Lethbridge Hurricane, so Jason Ruff is my choice.
I think I just fed Patty that answer.
Well, no.
I know.
I had no idea what was
I was
going
like,
on.
thanks, Paul.
gonna
I'll take that one.
I'm going to defer so that Paul can give me my answer.
It was tough for me to come up with the greatest because I'm more of a Johnny come lately for the Hurricanes. I mean, I've only been living in Lethbridge. I did some college and stuff here, but when you're too poor to go to a lot of games and have beers and really enjoy yourself. So it's more since, I moved back here. And guys, it came more to a fan favorite is where I wanted to go. The guy holding Mike Wachterl, it was just amazing and everything he's done. But Mike actually named his son after one of the guys, and not necessarily, but one of the guys came up when he was naming his son, was a former Hurricanes captain, Carter Banks. And I had a chance to grow up with his family. His mom was a teacher of mine. His dad taught me gym, played tennis with his sister. My brother and Carter played hockey together growing up. And I remember watching Carter Banks play hockey when he was 6 years old. And you could just see, he was hands down the best player in every single game that he played in. So I'm going to go more of a fan favorite, but Carter Banks. I mean, you saw from skill that was there, but just the willingness to win, the competitive drive, blocking shots, the things that he did. And Carter Banks is my greatest Hurricane of all time.
This is 110% with Jordan Karst.